Hello, Eric.
Hello, Tracy.
I'm Tracy from MMO site and pandaapp.com.
Good to meet you.
Yeah, we focus on game industry since 2005. Panda App is our overseas app platform. It's my great honor to talk with you and ask you some suggestions for marketing. First of all, we know you got rich experiences in sales marketing for mobile phone game, but not a lot of publisher as big as Gameloft, and not easy to make a collaboration with large platform. For this small app game developer or publisher, do you have any marketing suggestions?
Sure, that sounds like a very general question, but I think what makes Gameloft unique and well positioned in the China market is our strengths. So starting from 1999, we were very focused on mobile phone games. The top three differentiators, if you like that, made us stand out and made us do well in the past decade or so, would be one, our high quality games, which translates to big brand games. For example, our Asphalt car series is now in our 7th series. Modern Combat, we're about to launch our 4th series. And Nova, the first-person shooter, we've just released the 3rd series in the games. So people are aware of our games, and we're very grateful for that. Number 2, I think it's Gameloft's strategy of covering the whole ecosystem. So not only do we work with carriers, big platforms such as Tencent, but we also work with people outside the normal distribution channel. For example, smart TVs. As you've seen, we've recently done the Lenovo Smart TV preload, and we did the Hisense preload, and we also did MTK preloading into the chipset. And the third reason is marketing partnership. So we're very proud that we get to do partnership with the film companies. So for example, recently you've seen Gameloft doing games for Amazing Spider-Man, Batman, The Dark Knight Rises. And we feel that it's these three factors combined together that makes Gameloft unique and well positioned in the mobile gaming market.
Thank you. And the second question is, for iOS and Android games, there are two common ways to make a revenue.
Yeah.
One is subscriber fee. Yeah, monthly subscriber fee.
Okay.
And another is selling virtual items in the game. So, can you tell us some other tips about to attract the users to pay and stay at the game for a long time?
Okay, thanks for the question. So what we've seen in China is that the business model have shifted heavily from premium to freemium. So for example, one of our games, Ice Age Village, we've said this game was a freemium game from the very beginning, and we saw the download going up exponentially. The download numbers compared to the other app stores in the world, China is actually number 2. So we're extremely proud of this result. And I think China, it's the market itself is very sensitive to pricing. So I think it makes perfect sense to make your games freemium in the China market. And I think that's where you'll be able to lower down the barriers for the gamers to download. I actually see doing subscription fee or premium pricing presenting itself as a roadblock for people to download the game. So we're a firm believer of the freemium model, and we're transitioning well into the freemium model.
Okay, that's great. And then, how can a developer or publisher keep top in China app store? Do you have any suggestion?
Sure, I think you can split it into iOS and Android. With iOS, what we find works well is that it's very important to do localizations. So for example, PopCap recently has done a China Great Wall addition to Plants vs. Zombies, and they've done well, and they've seemed to be able to penetrate the top 20 very well. But if you really look into the charts, most of the top 20 games are local MMORPG. So for The tip that we would like to give developers is that if you want to seriously target China, then please consider using these Chinese folklore heroes themed games. Then that would place you at a better chance at being at the top 20. So that's iOS. For Android, it's from a genre perspective, it's very similar. It's very important to do localized Chinese themed games, and secondly is to choose the right platform. In China, there's no Google Play, and that places a lot of challenge for developers. There's no way we can cover 200 stores. So the best thing to do is to do your homework, find out which platform can generate the most amount of revenue with the most minimum input. Some of the big players such as Tencent, UCWeb, NetDragon, 360, Danglo, all of these portals have their own strengths, and and I would urge developers to analyze each and every one of them and find out the strength and weakness and to publish the game from there.
Yeah, I know, but some apps and first time they can keep a top 20, but after a while, after several times of 1 week, they dropped dramatically.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to keep it in the top. Yeah. So besides, next we will talk about the promotion way, and as we know, we have the like the article review for some platform, for some media, and advertising in some app platform. Do you have other useful way to promote app?
So there's also another few ways in approaching promotion. First, I think the structure of the gaming company is very important. So in the past few years, Gameloft has successfully restructured in that every game has got its own evolution team. So each of the game teams is responsible for its promotion and responsible for its revenue. So this is number one. By putting a structure in place, you get the team to focus on games as a service, as opposed to just uploading a game and let it promote for itself. We're now transition ourselves. That each game is now a going concern. So structure is very important. Now at the execution level, Tracy, you mentioned some of the tools that we already use already. For example, digital marketing, such as Sina Weibo, Teixin Weibo. That's very important on ongoing promotion. Secondly, app review websites is very effective. We find that by working with various medias such as yourselves, TKTK, or any other local medias, we find that it's also quite effective in terms of getting the game, know about what the game's all about, how it looks like, and that translates well to download numbers. So from the execution level, we've explored that. From an advertising perspective, it's actually not one of Gameloft's core strategy right now, but we're definitely exploring that. So I'm very curious. Going forward, I'm curious to speak to more advertisers and media agencies to see how they can utilize our game as a platform and to utilize that as a media platform.
Okay. Will you use Facebook or Twitter?
Okay. So for our overseas games, absolutely. Whenever we develop our games, it's part of the development process to have Facebook and Twitter integration. Going forward in China, we're also going to have Sina Weibo and as well as bring into our games, and we're probably looking at around January timeframe to implement these social media outreach programs.
Okay, that's great. So my last question is, as the giant of mobile game industry, your company as the giant at this industry. So in the future business model, do you have any plan for the future business model?
Future business model, if I know the answer, then I'll probably be a millionaire or billionaire right now. But from Gameloft's perspective, I think, especially in the China market, freemium is going to go on for a long time. Simply because in China, that is the behavior. What we find is that if you put a price point, say, of premium games, users do not like that. They find that that's a pretty big barrier. But then if you make it free, then they're willing to try, and if they like your game, they're actually willing to pay more than what you would normally charge. for a premium game anyway. So I think that's actually that business model is going to go on for a long time. Secondly, as we've touched on just now, I think brands are starting to realize that people spend a lot of time in mobile games, more so than they do on TV, movies, and other online platforms. So I think mobile games going forward, if not already, is already an important platform for brands to provide them with a solution to reach to their target users.
Okay. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, Tracy.